Chris Fixer again today with Brent Woodall, who's running for Public Service Commission Place 2, I believe. This is
It's actually
second.
Place 1.
He's in the state auditor's race, but now second was PSC, closing out of a long campaign. Mr. Woodall, how are you today?
Hey, I am doing fine, Chris. Tired, but feeling great right now. I've done everything I could do to pull this off, and I'm really excited about tomorrow. Can't wait to see how things go.
Well, is there anything right now that I know we've talked about that we should let the voters know about as we close in these final days? I know I've talked about the hidden tax, probably beat that to death. Junkets that went on, expenditures traveling all over the place on everybody's dollar. Well, what do you want to talk about? I mean, it's their money, or our money.
I tell you what, it's been amazing, but I think we could maybe come up with the topic of the lies that are being told, and it would cover everything you just alluded to. But starting a week ago, I think it was a week ago today, they came out with 2 lies and one fake news report. I mean, this is all fake news. But they made up a lie that a very, very respectable conservative group in Alabama that had endorsed me had pulled their endorsement, and actually gave a reason for their having pulled the endorsement, when in fact they never pulled their endorsement of me. The endorsement was never in jeopardy, and yet that didn't stop them from just completely fabricating a couple of things that they asserted. And I want to remind everybody that I have been endorsed by the Alabama Republican Assembly, by Conservative Party Alabama, and also by the Common Sense Campaign. In addition to that, I've won a straw poll that was conducted by Eagle Forum. But that doesn't stop the lies. I mean, they keep coming out. They say, and again, the supporters of my opponent are saying that somehow that I'm some kind of liberal, which is just laughable. When you realize that I have been a member of 2 Republican executive committees in this state. I was the chairman of the Young Republican in Morgan County back years ago when I was a Young Republican. I was the state treasurer of the Young Republican Federation of Alabama, served as a delegate for President Trump in 2016. I was, in the 1990s, I was the conservative host of 3 radio programs. Did that for a little over a year. I did 2 2-hour shows every weekday, an hour-and-a-half radio show on Saturday morning. And additionally, for about 4.5, maybe 5 years, I was the conservative co-host of a television program in North Alabama. I am as conservative as anybody you will ever meet. And I can come up with a list of people who used to debate me, friends of mine, who are conservative, middle of the road people. There are a bunch of people who tell you that I'm very conservative, and yet they still just tell their lies. And Chris, at the end of the day, that's all they're left with. They have to protect their investment in certain people, and that's all this is about.
And I'll just go ahead and say it. You don't have to call the names out, but it seems like these 2 paid political hacks, Dylan Smith and April Marie Fogle, they're not too good at doing it from what I've seen, and they are bought and paid for by Alabama Power and Yellowhammer News, and they're using their position as a talking head to try to influence an election to take care of their back pocket.
Well, it was interesting that one of the things that people have said, "Oh, that's not true. That's not true." I've had people who have heard me talk about it, and I'm referring to the hidden tax. I've had at least one lady who came up. She told me that when she heard me talk about it at one event, that she thought I was making it up. She went out, got in her car, and I'll tell you who she told me she called. She called Jim Ziegler from the parking lot. And she said, when I called him, I said, "Jim, I want to know." She said, "Let me tell you what this guy just said. I want to know, is that true?" And Jim Ziegler said, "Yes, it's true." And she looked at me and she said, and that was a week or so earlier, and she said, "I want you to know I'm voting for you." And I said, "Well, get 25 of your friends to do the same thing." Well, what's funny, Mr. Peaks, is that this past weekend, a story came out where one of the commissioners currently at the Public Service Commission said that the PSC, give money, the Public Service Commission gives money to the state legislature. That is the hidden tax. I mean, it was admitted to. But the interesting thing, the commissioners did not say hidden tax, of course. He said, we give the PSC's savings to the legislature. Folks, let me remind you, that ain't the money of the PSC. That is your money. That is the money of the ratepayers of the utilities that are regulated by the Public Service Commission. That's what ought to get your blood boiling, is when you realize that you are paying a tax that people who are not serviced by utilities regulated by the Public Service Commission don't have to pay. And when you pay it, it gets spent. And when it gets to the legislature, it gets spent on projects that you will probably never experience and enjoy. And in parts of Alabama, you may never go to. That's what's infuriating. And then you come out and you say, here's the truth. And they come up with it. Oh, this has got to be some liberal saying this. No, a member of the PSC just confirmed everything I have been saying.
Yeah, and I've said that to people too, and that's the first reaction I get is I guess they're shocked because they can't believe this is actually taking place. And right. One of them was inside a contact that I have with inside the governor's team, and that's what his comment was. Well, I just can't believe that. And he came back a few days later and said, I'm amazed. This is really going on. He said, something has to be done about this. I said, well, we can do something about it come Tuesday
right.
when we go to the polls. It's unbelievable to think that this is going on or it's went on this long. And at first, I've followed their comments, followed the hit jobs that they've tried to do. I thought they were so corrupt. But now I'm thinking that they don't have a clue what's going on. They think that they're actually helping you by giving the money back to the legislature. They're out of touch.
And that's it, Chris. You are exactly right. They are that out of touch. And I was in Shelby County yesterday afternoon for one last event. There was a great crowd. There were, I think it was 160 people. And I told them toward the end of my speech, I said, folks, this is the best opportunity we have had ever to bring about positive change at the Public Service Commission. It is imperative that the voters of Alabama get it right this time, because this time around we can do it. I mean, if we keep electing the same people and getting the same results, shame on us. The hidden tax has been in effect for roughly 9.5 years. It's been coming out for 9 years, but the legislature passed it, months earlier. So it's been in effect for about 9.5 years at the PSC. Guess how long my opponent has been in office? 9.5 years. He's done nothing about it. I have done more in the last 9 weeks than he has done in 9 years to fix this. And I've done it just by bringing it to the attention of people. And with your help, I've got to say, you've done a tremendous job of getting the word out, but just letting people around Alabama know about it. And again, it's unbelievable that this exists, but I intend to get rid of, I will get rid of it once I'm there, but I've got to get there, and I need everybody's vote tomorrow on Tuesday, May 24th.
I mean, this is so imperative. I guess that's why I took when I first got into this, I wrote about a couple different races. It really wasn't writing about much. And the more I listened to this, and I was like, wow. And then I started going in and, you call it investigative or whatever. It's really not, because it's right there. It's all been written about before. And I was reading about the stuff that these three are doing up there in this den of thieves. And it's just appalling at what they are doing to the Alabama payers. And tomorrow, I mean, we need to send a message and send this den of thieves crashing down on the house of cards it's built on.
Well, I would like to say this. I mean, yeah, let's send at least the guy in place one back home. Yeah. I got to tell you something. I mean, he doesn't spend enough time in Montgomery anyway, so it's not going to be for him that unusual not to be in Montgomery. I mean, you and I have talked about this. The records show that he stays outside Alabama laid up at these resorts on these junkets. There's no way to justify the time he spends outside the state doing absolutely nothing for the people of Alabama. You and I have talked about one trip that he took, that he was in Scottsdale, Arizona from, I think it was January the 15th through the 18th. On the 17th, he moderated 2 panel discussions. And that's it. Well, that doesn't help the people of Alabama. Why is he not here in Alabama, in Montgomery, fighting for the people of this state and doing what we need to have done? He's just too used to, to getting money and not have. I mean, as I've said before, he's basically the commissioner in place one is a whole lot like a welfare recipient. He gets a government check, but he doesn't really work in exchange for it.
Oh, sorry. I said place 2 earlier. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Place 1. We'll make sure that right. Sorry, I didn't mean there.
That's right.
And this Jeremy Oden, who we are wanting to vote out of office come Tuesday. These junkets he's going for, they're coming out of the same fund, the hidden tax that taxpayers are paying for, correct?
Well, what their response, his response would be, no, we're members of this national group. And because of our membership in this national group, I get to go on these trips. And it doesn't cost the Alabama anything. But where did the money come from to pay for the membership in the group? Again, everything, you've got to have the ratepayers at the forefront of your thought process. And those statements from him indicate they're not at the forefront of his thought process. What's at the forefront of his thought process is what's in it for me.
And let's say, we're not against Alabama Power making a profit, but there should be a happy medium between them and ratepayers.
Right. And other than the fact that when you increase, because of the way these statutes are written, when the Public Service Commission raises rates or fees, whatever you want, whatever they vote to raise, those things being raised causes an increase in the hidden tax because it's based on gross receipts. So the higher the gross receipts, the higher the tax, the more the PSC turns over the general fund, the more the PSC says, look what we've done for the state of Alabama, instead of saying, look what we've done to the ratepayers of the utilities. But no, I've never said one bad word about any of the utilities they regulate, because the utilities are doing what the PSC allows them to do. The PSC has the final say on these matters.
I like power. I'm not against Alabama Power. And just make sure this is the.
And everybody likes natural gas if you have to have it,
And Toten Oden is fighting the Biden administration. This regulatory committee, is it the same one that thanked or congratulated President Biden on his hard-fought victory over President Trump?
Yeah, I love that. Several letters went out from this group that he serves on the board of directors, still to this day did it at the time. Several records went out between the election in November of 2020 and the inauguration in January of 2021. And one of those letters, the one that I use when I'm out on, giving a speech, was addressed to the team leader of the energy policy of the incoming administration, the transition team. And in that letter, it starts out congratulating him on the team leader congratulating him on a hard-fought election victory. Both in the opening paragraph and in the closing paragraph, it says that they stand ready to work with you and to help the administration. It goes on and on. He also, the president of this group, in the letter that he sent, referred to his colleagues being, in this same position of wanting to help. He was kind enough to include an appendix. And in the appendix, there's a listing of the board of directors. On that list is the PSC, Place 1 Commissioner for the state of Alabama, who has been going around this state for months now saying, I'm fighting the Biden administration. Folks, if that's what he calls fighting, I'd hate to be in a foxhole with that guy. Did not even resign in protest of the letter. basically endorsed congratulating the incoming Biden administration and offering to help them and talk about how excited they are. It's just ridiculous. And yet, but that's the truth. They want to just come out and invent lies and engage in false or fake news, false stories, and yet that's the truth. Now you tell me, who's the liberal? The guy who was on the floor in Cleveland, Ohio in 2016, or the guy standing back saying, "Yep, we stand ready to help Joe Biden." I mean, let's face it. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and finish. I'll point out. I'll point out.
Yeah, I concluded with this yesterday in my final speech during the primary. I've done it all over the state. I tell everybody, folks, the only rhino we need in Montgomery is the one at the zoo. We have one. We have one at the PSC Place One office, and we need to get that one out of Montgomery, and we can do it tomorrow on May 20. I mean, if anybody's watching, I'm talking about Tuesday, May 24th. But let's vote the right way and take care of business in Alabama.
I'll close out this, and I'll try to quickly cut it. He's not a rhino. He is actually a liberal. Jeremy Odin. He is taking money from PACs associated with George Soros and wants to destroy America. And what Mr. Woodall was talking about, they talks about Nelson Brooks is by far not a crazy environmentalist. He's actually done some good things, and he's had conservatives working right alongside with him doing it. So do not fall for this fake news that's put out by the likes of paid political hacks Dylan Smith and April Marie Fogle. I don't care to call them that because I'm not beholden to any interest group. But like I said the other night, let's ride to the sound of the guns. I'll come
sir.
Tuesday and throw Mr. Oden. Let Toad know and Toad up and pack up back to the Coleman.
All right. Hey, let's get Woodall in Montgomery. That's what we need to do right now.
Montgomery. Thank you.